I get out of work. We got the fucking Kincaid going on out there. And this is what I come home to. But I don't want to start this on the wrong foot because we've got a rocky relationship. This is going to be one of those bumpy rides, boys and girls. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid. And my very special guests, Hustle and Muscle, also known as Richard E. Stone Esquire and Jay Bryxx. They are half of a faction that's called The Firm. And first off, welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for, I've never thought in a million years you guys would come on the show. Thank you for spending the time with me and the fans. Thank you, sirs.
Hey, this quarantine makes you do crazy things, and call it a fever dream, call it what you will, but here we are, and the pleasure is all yours.
Of course, Mr. Bryxx, thank you for joining.
The first check bounced. I'm glad this one went through because now we could be here. And I said $3,500, not $35. So we'll be billing you for the rest of it. Thank you.
If the 3,500 is what you're looking for, I'm going to be bouncing them MFers for my lifetime. I'll tell you that. Well, you know what? I am at a topsy-turvy here because, I cannot believe that both of you actually said yes to this soiree, if you will. But we like to have fun on Stirring the Pot. We talk character. We talk, your upcomings, if you will. We talk where you come from and all sorts of funny stuff, fun stuff, if you will. But we like to elevate the men and women that we talk to on this show. But I would love to start with the relationship between myself and the firm. Everybody knows the firm and or I. It's a very rocky one. And I speak of the firm, and you're going to be surprised at this. I speak of the firm. Oh, shit. Esquire bailed on me already. Oh, my God.
Listen, it's just going to be it's just gonna be Jay Bryxx. I'm gonna do the speaking for both of us.
Wow. That's better than documentation being thrown at me, legal papers, if you will. Summons. Yeah, I guess I did. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Should I try adding him again, or should we just leave him in the dust?
Let's see what happens. Go ahead, try it again.
All right, I'll give it a shot. Hey, why not?
You can fix this in post. You can fix it in post.
Mr. Bryxx, there's something that you don't realize about Stirring the Pot. I never edited. I have yet to edit ever one single interview. Never. Full, raw. As you see it, the way you see it is what you get.
Okay. All right.
I see an icon. I think we might have them back. Not sure yet. I see an RS.
Oh.
I don't know. Huh.
Yeah, it shows.
Hey, Richie, I can't hear you.
Wait, Mr. Bryxx, is he stealing somebody's Wi-Fi from down the road?
It's just classified information. I can't, give that out.
I don't know what we're gonna do with this. This is way more fun. If he wasn't even here, this is gonna be hilarious. I don't know if we can continue though, but hey, Richard E. Stone, I just want to ask you something. How many fingers am I holding up? Oh, this is definitely not going to work.
No. Listen, I think someone's messing with us. Can it be waves and curls, perhaps?
You see the icon. You see the icon.
He is totally frozen.
This is awful. Richard, want me to pay the Wi-Fi at your place?
All right, so let's try this. I don't know if I could. If I hit the hang up button, I don't want to end this call because this is hilarious. Let's see. Send a heart. Add people. Stop recording. Share screen. You know what? I think we're just gonna let us see if he falls off again because He did. I think he fell off again. But anywho, let's try to get a little something going here.
All right.
You, my friend, Mr. J. Bryxx, you're
Yes.
1/4 of the firm, and I speak. And again, you'll be surprised. I have spoken about the firm and the personalities that make up the firm on probably like 90% of my interviews.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, you are the muscle, as Mr. Stone calls you, of the firm. Could you tell us, how did you get into the firm? And part two of the question, maybe it should have been first part, how long have you been in the business right now?
I mean, how did I get into the firm?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were Six Bryxx for a long time. Me and the OG Elijah Six. He needed a bodyguard. He looked around the dojo. He found the biggest and baddest, and ever since then we've been together. Since day one. That was about the first fight for your dreams. It was September of 2018. And then, I started a relationship that's been carrying on for 2 years now. So I would say about 2 years been in the business, and it's been great. So it's been firm biz all around.
Now it says Richard E. Stone Esquire left. Oh, that's hilarious. We're going to kind of keep this going and see what happens. Maybe he's not stealing it. Maybe he's running on an old school modem, like a 128K. Is that a possibility? Like, what's going on with Richard Stone?
Listen, I don't know if he's at the firm cigar lounge. We don't have the best and biggest, technological advances. So he might be just in that crappy router, but we're gonna figure it out. Hopefully, he comes back because I don't like to talk much. It's not my style. You know this.
I do know that you are a man of very few words. That's why, again, a surprise that you would join us like this. I'm going to go add Mr. Richard E. Stone Esquire one more time. We're going to see how it goes. Now, we talked the firm, and you've been in the biz about a couple years now. Now, the firm is made up of Jay Bryxx, Richard E. Stone Esquire, Sammy Diaz, and Elijah Six. Speak to us about the personalities and how is it difficult to keep four guys on the same page in one faction like that, because wrestling's pretty difficult.
Coming into the firm, I was very worried because, I'm very opinionated, like behind the scenes. Elijah Six is Elijah Six on screen, behind screen. Like anytime he's just gonna be Elijah Six, and he's very opinionated. Then Sammy is more like reserved, but he's still contributes a lot, and so is Richard Stone. So, coming into it, from that perspective, I thought it was gonna be a cluster F. But surprisingly, it all works together. Like everyone kind of has the same mindset, and it is a beautiful thing. Like I could say like the most outrageous stuff, and they're just like, you know what? I think I can make it work. And each of us all kind of have like an idea of things, and we just try it out. Like we're very experimental with everything we do. Like we just always try everything. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But so far, literally everything that we've thrown at a wall, see if it sticks, it has stuck. So it's really a beautiful thing. And I hope that we could keep this going as long as we can.
Well, I got to say, when the firm, even pre-firm, if you will, you spoke about you were Elijah Six's bodyguard. And for the most part, when he goes on his own to other promotions, you still travel with him as his bodyguard, not on all counts, but on some counts. Now, being the bodyguard, that whole thing that you guys had going, I am telling you, I grasped on to that whole collective. Even Elijah as a singles competitor, Jay Bryxx as a singles competitor. Ooh, I just got a message on the side. Wi-Fi crapped out.
No.
That is hilarious.
It was so good before you press record.
It was actually perfect. He says he's going to restart. So we're going to see where Richard E. Stone Esquire comes in later on, if not at all. We'll find that out. Now, myself, and not just myself, many fans, my friend, at Test of Strength, because that's your home base. Am I correct on saying that?
That is correct.
Now, myself and all of the fans of Test of Strength, we, as a collective, we grasped on to Elijah Six, the character that is brought to the table. Jay Bryxx, that was brought to the table. And then you guys combined forces. You were his bodyguard, as you spoke of such. And I am telling you, my friend, it's very hard to get us to grasp onto a character, especially being new, brand spanking new. It's very hard for the fans to really jump on board and get invested right away. That was something you both did collectively and singly. But when you came together, it really kind of elevated you both. Am I wrong on saying that?
No, I think what happened is just you get two people that are like very golden, like goal oriented, and it just kind of works. Like when they were coming up in the dojo, like with the whole Elijah Six and I'm his bodyguard thing, like we were both like, yeah, that works. And when you have people on the same page, you're gonna succeed. Like we both took home run hits with our characters. Like we were like, this is who we are as characters, and this is what we're gonna do. And it's just kind of, I think people could catch on because it's not phony. Like that is, wrestling is like you got to turn yourself. It's like yourself plus turning up the volume up, and it's pretty much who we are. We're very outgoing, and it's just kind of people. It's not like what do you call it? It's not a character. It's just who we are, but just more outrageously. So I feel like people could grasp onto that.
Now, I want to talk about the relationship between you guys and the fans, because it seems you're only 2 years into the game. Now, each wrestler, male or female, find to hearing the fans reacting, using that ammunition, if you will, to kind of figure out whoa, hey, what's it is?
Listen here, Mr. Kincaid, I don't know what kind of conspiracy you have against me that you sabotage my Wi-Fi connection. Okay? But these atrocities will not go unaccounted for. Do you hear me? You're trying to carry me, Kincaid?
I can't. I am. Oh my
Unbelievable.
God. Oh God. This absolutely I think this made my whole 2020 with your Wi-Fi crapping out. This is hilarious.
Well, it breaks my heart to make your year.
But we were speaking, Jay Bryxx, you've only been in the game for a couple years, but sometimes it takes the men and women in the game to really hear and respond and use what we say in our chants and such, to use it as ammunition and part of your repertoire to kind of utilize your character. Where do I take this? Where do I take that? Now, you seem to have fed right off the ripper from the fans. Am I wrong on saying that? Or did it take the full 2 years to really connect?
As far as like fan interaction and all that, I think like right away, I was so nervous the first time I was gonna go out, but right away I just did my thing and people reacted. It's mainly, I'm gonna blame the hair. People saw the hair and they were like, the first time I came out, everyone just kind of busted my chops about the hair, and I was just like, I just threw it right back. I mean, I've been doing that my whole life, being in a group of friends that I grew up in, like it's either you're witty or you drown. So I think that I just kind of took that, and what's the worst that can happen? Someone's gonna hit me. I would love to see someone crawl over the guardrail to try to hit me. It's gotta be a bad time. So I just try to see how much I can get away with, and the fans love it. The fans really do love it. Like they dislike me, but it's also like, man, it's tough to hate this guy. So I just kind of took that and ran with it.
Now, not everybody boos you. You guys actually have quite a little fan base going on that's out there. And it's not in just one promotion. It's actually spread out over a few. Mr. Stone, kind of the same question. Since you've been gone for 15 minutes, tell us about how long have you been in the game? Because you're very new on the scene, if you will. Test of Strength is your home base, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
And again, the interaction with the fans. you grabbed with it. You grabbed it and ran right with it. It seemed very easy for Mr. Stone to do that.
Well, there are a few things in life that give me greater joy than to see people sulking at my expense. I really take pride in making people sad, disappointing them. Especially when they're cheering for somebody, and I can just take that joy right away from them. That really warms the cockles of my heart to do so. When people chant things like Smurf, which I'm not a Smurf. It gives me great pleasure to then go and beat up their supposed hero and make a fool of that man or woman, as I've pinned many a woman in my short tenure. I'm an equal opportunity person here. I believe that everybody who steps foot in the ring has the right to get pinned by me and has the right to let down their fans. And I take great joy in helping them do that.
Huh. And how long have you been in the game? Mr. Bryxx said he's been in the game for about 2 years.
Mr. Bryxx has a little bit more time on me. I started at about September of 2018. So a little under 2 years. And I guess if you take away pandemic time, about a year and a half.
Okay. Now, finding your way into the firm, you guys are quite the unit, a faction, if you will. Each of you have your own personality, which is what you want. You don't want everybody to be the same, that's for sure. And you all bring your individuality. And the firm, I've spoken, and I know you weren't here because you were gone for 15 minutes, but I was telling
thanks for the reminder.
Oh, yeah. I was telling Mr. Bryxx that I have mentioned the firm on probably 90% of my interviews. That may come as a shock. May it not, because, the firm is the firm, making a big name for themselves. How did you get involved into this whole thing called the firm, if you will?
Well, you see, they say that luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? That's a popular saying. Just take my word for it. You can consider me opportunity. I saw the opportunity with a big man like Jay Bryxx and a wisecracking, smooth-talking man like myself, and Mr. Elijah Six, the GOAT, who has more talent than most people could dream of in his little finger. That's how talented that man is. You take his talent, you take Jay's muscle, Sammy's drive, and my ability to put it all together. It's firm biz, baby. That's all there is to it. I saw the opportunity, and I took it.
You see why he does the talking? That man is so smooth. Smooth as butter. Look at him, drinking a martini.
I do have to say, he's good with the words, the chatter, if you will. Now, you, my friend, Mr. Richard E. Stone Esquire, you're the legal portion of the program to keep things in the up and up, if you will. You, my friend, went from in a suit, El Jabroni, all hail El Jabroni. He gave you a headbutt, one headbutt with that 33-pound head, and broke, I think, every single bone in your body. So you went from a suit to casts and neck collars and wheelchairs and crutches. And I thought, in my opinion, and many others, I think that was one of the most absolute funniest things I have ever seen in the wrestling industry ever. From WCCW, WWF, even from way back, even back in the black and white days when there was one match and everybody would come. There would be like 50,000 people showing up from miles around in the 1920s and 30s. That moment in time when you were all came to test your strength and were in that whole thing, one of the most entertaining things I have ever seen in the glory of wrestling. You do not seem to agree with me, sir. He's frozen again. Woo!
You think it's entertaining for someone to get hurt?
Well, oh, there he is.
Yeah, That's right. I'm back. You can't hold me down, Kincaid, with your little tactics, messing up my Wi-Fi over here. Okay? I've got broadband. Okay? Do you understand what that means? No, you don't.
I think you got 128K. I don't know if you remember them days. I do.
I have at least 129K. All right? At least.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't appreciate.
Anyway.
We were having a good interview.
Okay.
You know, I was letting my guard down a little bit. You know, you think it's entertaining for my man to be hurt? He broke his arm, broke his leg, broke his neck, and he was still out there. You think that's funny?
Do you know what happens when a 33-pound head comes crashing down on you? When you don't expect, when you're sitting ringside supporting your brothers in the ring fighting, and a man decides he's going to take matters into his own hands and hit the one person not involved in the match, who didn't expect it, by the way, who was just out there to support, to cheer on his brothers?
It should have been me, Richie. It should have been me. I'm sorry, Richie. I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize, Jay. You were out there doing what you needed to do. It's El Jabroni's fault, and there's a reason the firm is still around. And where's El Jabroni? Where's he at?
He's kind of faceless right now, and it's really making me sad.
Good. You know what these are, Kincaid? These are your tears, and they taste delicious.
See that? No, that's not nice. See that? That's not nice.
So good.
Speaking
You're right.
of
It's
not
not good.
nice,
It's great.
yeah. Speaking of not nice, Mr. Bryxx, you when you hang with Elijah Six, you go to PAPW quite often. I've seen you, branching out, if you will, from home base at Test of Strength, going to PAPW, and I will have to say that your characters together have really done something to us, the fans, because you want that damn song of yours starts, and you guys hear us. We will boo the instant that first digit hits on the telephone. And I would like to get your reaction from behind the curtain, because we as fans, we don't know what goes on behind the curtain. So I like to pull it back just a smidge. When you hear those digits go off and we start booing the shit out of you, what does that do for Jay Bryxx coming out to that curtain? Does it kind of make you feel happy? Does it give you more energy? What does it do for you, sir?
You ever, really needed a glass of water and you got it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like. It's great. It's great. It's like a hug to the heart, because, great men get booed. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens. So if you guys hate, but I do enjoy it. So keep booing.
I do know that you definitely enjoy it. Now, I want to speak on something else in PAPW and the fans. Elijah Six is starting tearing up children's signs, like their signs that they bring. Their hard work. They sit there. They make signs for their favorite wrestlers. You know what wrestling's about. That's what fans do. And Elijah Six is going up to the children. Not only 10, 12 years old, but he's going up to smaller children like 6, 8. Not only that, he's going up to the beloved sign kid. The kid is only 2 years old at best, even if at 2 years old, and he's tearing up his signs. What the F is going on?
Listen,
first of all, I don't know who's making these signs when a 2-year-old who can't say more than goo goo gaga somehow can formulate a complete thought sentence on a piece of paper. But listen, legally speaking, when you enter public domain, okay, you don't have the same expectations. If he made that in his house, if he wanted to put that sign up in his house, he's free to do so. I'm sure this 2-year-old isn't a property owner yet, but someday when he owns his own property, he can, if he so chooses, put a sign up. When he enters the public domain, when he enters PAPW, a place that we run, by the way, he is subject to our law. He is subject to what we want. So if we want to rip up a sign, if Elijah Six wants to tear that sign into shreds and throw it in his face, well, he has every right to do so. What do you got to say to that, Kincaid?
I was actually asking Mr. Jay Bryxx, but, hey, whatevs. He's 2 years old. For crying out loud, the kid is 2 years old at best.
Listen, he should know. He should know that life will come at you hard. What better way to learn life's lessons than at 2 years old?
Well said, Jay. Very well said.
I kind of like to kind of get the origin of the hustle and the muscle, because you guys have come together, and again, you've branched out together to other promotions. And I want to speak of Shut Up and Wrestle specifically in Holyoke, Massachusetts at the Landry's Combine. We have amazing times up there. Love that place is amazing. We have so much fun. But I want to speak on, where does the hustle and muscle come from? How did that kind of originate?
You see, it was shortly after El Jabroni broke my entire body, and I was laid up and in recovery. Wow. Okay. Wow. You know what? More tears for me, I guess.
Hey, you know what's really funny? Don Kincaid probably like laughs at like, fires and stuff, because
I'm
Good
easy.
one.
I'm easy.
Anywho, I decided that we needed a catchphrase. We needed a moniker. You've got the ace, Sammy Diaz. You've got the GOAT, Elijah Six. That's the ace, the GOAT. And then you've got the hustle and the muscle. I am the wordsmith of the firm. I am the smooth talker. And Jay, he cashes the checks that I write.
Now, Mr. Bryxx, when I very first seen you get into the ring, seen you in the new boots, the new gear, if you will, when you started really shining your character. And man, I did not expect to see you move quite athletically in the ring, because you do some really cool stuff, big man stuff, but nonetheless, very athletic for your size, if I might say. That's a compliment. That's not a diss, if you will. How often does Mr. Bryxx train? Because it takes a lot to persevere in wrestling. I've always said on these interviews, being a wrestler is probably one of the hardest things in the entire universe to become, because of the perseverance it takes. How often do you train, sir?
I do. I try to do 3 days a week. I really do try to do 3 days. I mean, yeah, 3 days a week. But I settle for like 2. Life kind of gets in the way. But I do about 2 to 3.
And
Listen to this man, so modest.
And again, you're training at the helm of Slick Wagner Brown over at the Tessa Strength Dojo in East Hartford. Love Tessa Strength. Could you talk to us about, yourself, Elijah, Sammy, Richard E. Stone, and other students that were all kind of coming up together? Is it truly, as they say, behind the scenes, a brotherhood, a sisterhood, if you will? Is that true to say behind the curtain?
Yeah, it's Tessa Strength definitely. We're all family, and I know some people just say that because they just feel like they got to make their group sound like better or something. But Tessa Strength really is a family. Like, everyone really does care about each other. Everyone got each other's backs. Coming into it, I was like listening to like horror stories from other dojos and stuff like that, and just for group chats, people will be like, oh, like wrestling's like this, but nothing. You don't know how something's gonna be till you actually go and try it. And the first week of training, I was so terrified to be there, just because everyone got into my head about it. But yeah, Tessa Strength is the place to be, man. Like, is so understanding, loving. Like, we all got each other's back. There's no pressure. There is pressure as far as like it is a contact kind of sport. So there is that pressure where like you want to better yourself and people are gonna get on your ass about it. But as far as just like everything else, it really is a brotherhood, and we got a great group of people that do train at Tessa Strength.
Now, Mr. Stone, I've actually had the ultimate honor of being invited to a couple of the training sessions at Tessa Strength, because I would be doing interviews with maybe the likes of Sammy Diaz and such. And I would go to Tessa Strength and meet him and do it either pre or post training. And during those times, I've actually seen Mr. Stone as he was kind of building his character and being in the ring and doing the training stuff. And you guys do some cool mock matches. That's what I call them. I don't know if that's what they're called, but I call them mock matches. And my friend, I seen you for that very first time, and I was absolutely blown away about your natural ability in the ring because we speak of your mouth so much because it just flies. But my friend, what you do in the ring, again, it comes as well. It comes off as well as your words when you're kind of chattering. What kind of training have you had previous of coming into the Test of Strength dojo?
So briefly, I'm a black belt in American Kempo, and I used to teach back in many years ago. So the rolls and things, the bumps, that was kind of stuff that I had sort of done before, and I needed just kind of a refresher because I had been out of practice. I can't kick as high as I used to, not nearly as high, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it. And I spent a lot of years in the music scene, playing in musical groups, and I found there that my showmanship, my ability to playing drums, doing like stick twirling and things like that. If I'm playing very simple beats, I can make them more complex by throwing some character into it and getting into the beat. Or so I learned quickly that people are more entertained by the little things that you do as opposed to the big overarching awesome stuff. Like there's a time and a place for all that, but really if you can get in tune with the crowd, which is still something I'm working on, reacting to the crowd and being able to take their feedback and roll with it, because it's not the same as being behind a drum set and just chugging away on a song and you're going a mile a minute and you're in your own world. You actually have to feed back off the crowd and react to them and then translate that into your match. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of that background there has helped me.
Well, I have to say, you have you do that dance that I talk about a lot on these interviews, the fans and wrestlers and fans. Without that little dance, we see it firsthand by turning on WWE, AEW nowadays. Empty arenas is very odd in wrestling. So that dance that we do, very important into the wrestling, the whole package that makes wrestling. But my point being is, you kind of, and I know you just spoke about that, you have to kind of maybe listen more and what have you. But I tell you, you listen already, my friend, and you react, and you already, I mean, for crying out loud, you put on a blue suit. You're a smaller guy. We call you Smurf, and it's been like this crazy wild ride with these chants and stuff. So you are finding your character very comfortably and reacting when necessary. That from a fan to a wrestler, I have to say you're doing a fantastic job, sir.
Well, compliments are always welcome, Kincaid. I appreciate that. It pains me a little to drink these tears, but I'm going to anyway.
Damn. Mr. Bryxx, I'd like to talk about your name specifically. How do you come up with the character name, what you wear, and how you present yourself as Jay Bryxx?
So, I'm laughing because it took such a long time to come into this character, because I was training, and I was 6 months in, and I think everyone kind of comes into this thing like, hey, I'm gonna have a certain character that I'm gonna do, and
yep.
And that's definitely not who you end up being, and it bums you out at first because you might be like, hey, I didn't get to be who I wanted to be, but I think for me it was for the best. Let me run you down some of the characters that I wanted to be. All right. So originally, I wanted to be part of this tag team where I was a construction site worker, and it would be let's say, it would be like these two construction guys that just got off the work, whatever, and they would drink beers and mess people up. And the whole thought behind it was because I was thinking of a shirt, I was watching people doing construction. It'll be let's say Bryxx. It'll be Bryxx, and it'll be their name, and then in the back will be whatever it is. And I was thinking it will be Bryxx, laying and decking, because we deck you, and then we lay you out. So that was the first one. And I told Slick this, and he just laughed and laughed and laughed.
And what a laugh he has! I mean, holy
cow! Oh yeah. It broke my heart. But and then another one I was thinking was gonna be this militant, guerrilla, faction, and that didn't work out. After that, it was gonna be something under the hood, where it was just gonna be a black mask with a giant smile, and it was just gonna be really creepy because at the time I was training with one of my really good friends, Pat, and he was gonna be like this like voodoo priest, like a voodoo priest, and was gonna be the creature. And then yeah, I got laughed out of the dojo for all of those and many more I don't remember. And so one day, Slick goes. So Elijah Six has had like maybe 2 matches at this point, maybe I think, yeah, like something like Rumbles or something like that. And he was like, you know what you need? You need a bodyguard that's gonna protect you out there, because you know he's a little bit smaller than the guys who was going up against at the time. So he was like, hey, you be his bodyguard, and he didn't say anything else. And I kind of put it together. I was thinking of like what kind of bodyguards would look cool, and I didn't want just a shirt that said just security on it. So I kind of went with like high class, like Suge Knight, type of character, and that's where the suit came from. And that's how the character Jay Bryxx came along. Alex Rojas gave me the last name. I was gonna use my shoot name. He was like, nah, use Jay. And I was like, all right. And he's like, let me make a drug reference, Bryxx. And then, it was like originally it was BRX. And I was like, well, let me make myself sound like a porn star, put a Y and a double X at the end of it. That's the origin story of Jay Bryxx.
Wow, dude, I did not see that coming at all. That is awesome. That's why I love doing these, Mike. I mean, for real, that's exactly why. Mr. Stone, now your character doesn't seem very, and I know we spoke of Mr. Bryxx and I while you were gone for 15 minutes, but your character, it doesn't seem to be very far, except amped up quite a bit from yourself. Because the names are very similar, if you will. Just putting that out there.
They're eerily similar. I understand.
How did this whole Esquire thing come about? Was it a little helping hand, or how did you kind of come with up your character?
So we were at training once, and it was a Bobby Ocean-led training. And the cool thing about Bobby is that he likes to do things a little differently, and he kind of just thinks off the cuff about things we should do. And he thinks about different things. Like, so he wanted us to do promos. And I'd always envisioned myself as either taking on my like drumming persona, like a 80s rock star or something, or I kind of thought of an idea of like a music snob that like was too good for everything. And so if I was going to be a bad guy, I would be like, oh, I liked them before they were cool, and like kind of a too cool for school type of guy. But he just had us cut these promos, and we're all in line, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I'm going to do. My best friend is a lawyer, and I work out with him regularly, and all his friends are lawyers. So I just went with my real name, Richard E. Stone, and then I went with Esquire, and I cut a promo saying I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, and I have 2 things that nobody else in this locker room has, and I went law and order, and he loved that so much that he sent it to Slick, and the rest is history from there.
That is awesome.
And I've been a lawyer ever since.
Yeah, the whole Law and Order thing cracks us up in the freaking fan section. Holy cow, man. I absolutely love that stuff. But that's what I'm talking about, though, you guys, is being a wrestler, it's not making up a name. It's not getting in the gym. It's not training. It's not the gear. It's not the psychology. It's not the sacrifices. It's not. There is so many parts, many things that make this whole package to become a wrestler. It's insane. And that's why I say it's one of the most hardest things to really accomplish and get on those big platforms and make a livelihood of it regularly. And it doesn't even have to be WWE anymore to make a good living out of it. Sacrifices are one of those main things. Time spent away from the family, the wife, the children, even, your parents and stuff, missing holidays and all of that. I mean, there's so much that goes in. I mean, I could have a whole interview just on that alone. But what I'd like to dive into a little bit more of your characters, that blue suit, that blue powder suit that you wear.
The D is silent. It's power blue.
Please tell us about that. I crack up from the fucking first time, and I gotta emphasize that from the very first time I ever seen that, especially my dad. And my dad's got quite the laugh too, like a slick. He has a very distinct laugh. My dad is sitting right next to me, and I bet his laugh could have went for a mile down East Hartford when we first saw you with that. Holy cow! Give us how you came about with that whole blue suit.
Oh, so when the lawyer character got started, a lot of references to David Kleinfeld from Carlito's Way were made. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but Sean Penn plays him, and he wears a tracksuit in like the famous boat scene where they're on the boat, and he kind of double crosses Carlito's
Italians.
character. And so they were like, oh, you got to wear a tracksuit, because I was wearing suits for a while, but like to wrestle, I needed something else. And so I went on the Adidas website because I was going to go big or go home. And this color called Shock Cyan was the cheapest of all the tracksuits. Every other tracksuit was full price. And this one was half the cost. So I ordered it, and then Adidas ended up shipping me an extra tracksuit by mistake. So I took it as a sign and just kind of ran with it. Adidas, thank you, inadvertently, by the way. And I sent it. So first I sent a picture to my wife while she was working, and she said, "Oh God, that's terrible. It's perfect." And then I sent it to the guys in the firm, and they loved it. And then the glasses, actually, I bought these for life. I didn't think they were going to be part of the gimmick. I just thought they were cool. And my wife Siobhan, she goes, "Those are for your gimmick, right? Those are gimmick glasses. Those aren't for real life." And then I learned quickly that this was a whole ensemble.
Now, I noticed, Jay Bryxx, you went with more traditional wrestling gear. The boots, beautiful, might I add. That you really stand out. Look awesome for a big guy with great looking boots on. Why did you kind of go a little more traditional?
Oh my God, someone's calling me. I'll be right back. Hold that question. Ask.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He's a wanted man. What can I say?
Yeah, hey, it is what it is. Mr. Stone, you have served me personally. So since he's gone, you have served me personally papers. They were legal documentation. You served me papers at a Test of Strength training day. Love the training days because they're very intimate, a very intimate setting. What was with the papers? Because I had I had my associate Laura C. LC. She ripped them right up. I handed them over because she got served too. What did they even say? Because I have no clue.
Well, I mean, there was a bunch of legalese in there, so I won't bore you with that, and probably go over your head anyway, to be perfectly honest. I'll say this. Basically, you have besmirched the good name of Richard E. Stone, Esquire. You have tried to defame my character by calling me a Smurf, which I am not. You have sullied the good name of Jay Bryxx, Elijah Six, Sammy Diaz. You guys, you talk, and you talk, but when it comes down to it, all you're doing is hating on the firm. And your day will come in court. Trust me. The hand of justice is swift. It's slow. It's very, very slow. But some year we will see you in court. We will have our day.
The slower, the better. Woo. Now, Mr. Bryxx, traditional gear. Why did you kind of roll with that?
So it's actually kind of more of a functionality kind of thing. So everyone kind of has like the shoot wrestler, like Adidas or Asics, kind of like the mini boots, as I like to call them. And they're great, but the heel support and ankle support, not too great. So I needed something that had better heel ankle support, and those boots just kind of are just it. So that's one side of it. And also, like, I grew up watching like really old school wrestling. Like my father was a giant old school wrestling fan. So like, you got the Dusties, the Ric Flair, you got all those guys, Stan Hansen, all those guys wore boots. So, I kind of just always wanted to have boots. And when I found out I couldn't wear the little mini boots because of my feet, it was perfect transition. I was like, this is it. I looked apart, and my feet don't hurt.
A big plus right there, because you got to be very comfortable in that ring, man. Any slip, any little tiny slip, is the safety for you and the man or woman across the ring from you. So yeah, you got to definitely be weary of your gear. Now, test of strength, I've mentioned again, and again, many interviews, very intimate setting, 20, 30 chairs. People come filing in, do standing room only. It's a free show. Boys and girls that are watching this, hopefully it's not my dad and his dog. For you guys that are watching this, I'm telling you, East Hartford, Connecticut, and I know we're at a weird time, but when we come back, do yourself a favor. East Hartford, Connecticut, 87 Church Avenue or Street?
I believe it's Church Street.
Okay, Church Street. And I am telling you, it's a free show once a month on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. You cannot beat that. If you're a wrestling fan and you're not going to these things, shame on you. Shame on you, because it's such a good time. Now, I didn't mean to kind of down on the fans, but my point being is, do you guys enjoy that really tight, intimate setting? Because we see everything. We hear basically, not everything, but we hear enough. Do you guys like that intimate setting? I'll start with you, Mr. Eastone.
I love it. I think it's great. You get a lot of hungry wrestlers in a place like that. They're looking for opportunity. One of the best matches I've seen there was when Jiggy and Sammy had the Kowalski Cup match. And that started the show. It's you never know what you're going to get, and I think a lot of people hear free and they think, oh, it's a free show, right? How great can it be? Well, it can be pretty great, and I think the matches that I've seen thus far, and even my short time there, kind of speak for themselves. But yeah, it's a fun environment. It really teaches you crowd interaction, because if there's nothing scarier than being in a ring and being able to make eye contact with someone in the crowd and have them look you right back in the eyes, and you have that moment, and then you realize, oh crap, I have to say or do something, and I have to get them to react. It's very intimate. I think, Mr. Kincaid, you've shared a stage or two with some fellow musicians in your day. You know what that's like when there's a smaller crowd. It feels more intimate, and it's actually very nerve-wracking. It's counterintuitive, but
yeah,
when you see someone's face,
it definitely is, because when you're in a bigger venue, there's a little bit more lights if there's a house setup. Most bigger places have a house setup, if you will. So you might not see as far into the crowd, which kind of makes it easier. But when you're in a smaller setting and you see everybody, and when the place starts getting jam slammed, it's like, oh shit, I gotta be on, man, because this is not gonna fly. You always want to be on. That's definitely not my point, but you gotta be a little special, a little extra on, if you will, with the intimacy. Same question, Mr. Bryxx, because you both are in your very young careers, and you're both young in age. So I am so stoked to see what you guys bring to the table in the years to come. But same question, Mr. Bryxx, you like that intimate setting?
I do, but it's also very nerve-wracking, kind of to piggyback on what you were saying, because there's only 25 seats. So you really got to be on your shit, because let's say you're mid-match and you forgot something. Well, guess what? If the fans are not rowdy, they're going to hear what you got to say. So it really tests you, And also, can you if you can win over a small crowd like that, you could win over any crowd, really. So it's kind of like it's really our testing grounds, and I love it. I think the first one I went to was like 18, and there wasn't that many people, but the last one we just had, there was people going out the hallway. So like just to see that grow is really beautiful. But yeah, it's very, very nerve-wracking. You gotta be on your shit, and I just love it because I love the challenge. There's not that much room for error. Also, if there's a dive, you gotta.
It's also just not that much room.
I can't tell you how many people. I mean, I'm the big man, so all I do is just catch people falling from the air. And so many times I end up on people's laps, whether they love it or not. But, that's the whole feeling with training day, and I just really love it.
Hey, that's why we want the front row. We love the interaction. If you're in the front row and you're expecting to sit on your hands, not cheering, and maybe not getting that interaction, you're in the wrong row. Your eyes have got to be open, my friends, because that's what the front row is all about when you're at these independent shows. And that's what I really love about the intimacy. We get to see students, as you guys are coming up and test your strength. And I know I use the word students a couple of times, and I know you're an upcoming wrestler, but you're always students of the game. But I am telling you, Test of Strength really is a special, small place that has some amazing shows. And a couple things about Test of Strength. It's not like they offer training, okay? And then they put some fans in there. Let's see what you do. They offer after match interviews to get you comfortable with promos. They offer a hard cam that is always fixed and running on a Facebook Live feed, which again, that gives you a feel of working a camera when you get to these different higher platforms, if you will. And then there's the training and everything that comes along with it. And plus much more that I'm not even listing. I absolutely love Test of Strength, and it's not because it's in Connecticut. I just think they offer quite a bit for the intimate setting that it is. You would not, like you said, Mr. Stone, you don't expect much out of a free show, but I am telling you, between Mr. Slick Wagner Brown and Mr. Bobby Ocean, wow, they're producing some fine talent. And again, I can't wait to see where you guys go. Now I want to talk about something that's not even the firm related or either of you related. There's a new kid in town, and I love me some El Jabroni.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't you dare say it. No. Don't you say it. No. No.
It's Ichiban, number one.
Oh my God.
There you go. You had to go and say it.
Now, the fans are absolutely in love with Ichiban. They absolutely adore this kid. We don't know what he looks like because he wears a mask. He's only been around for a very short time. You guys just lost your shit. Mr. Stone, give us what you've got on Ichiban, number one. Please, sir.
Well, the one thing I can say about Ichiban, I was watching the Dark Side of the Ring, and I think if we all know that the last episode was the Owen Hart episode, and it was fantastic. I highly recommend watching it. But I'm watching Owen do these moves under the hood, and all I could think was, that guy reminds me of Ichiban. The moves that man is doing, the technique that he has, there's something eerily similar about the two of them. Just a natural ability. I can't deny that Ichiban is talented. I can't deny that man can flip-flop and fly around. And he can take a heck of a beating, too. I've seen him do it. But one of these days, Jay's going to pull up to my front yard with the right person in the back of his trunk, and it's going to be Ichiban. His day will come. His day will come.
That was hilarious. You guys had the wrong guy. Who the hell was that? Oh, God, that was so funny.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Everything's pending. We've settled, okay? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Listen, Ichiban, if you're watching, I hope you get an internship at a hospital with a lot of coronavirus cases, and I hope someone calls straight into your face.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
Really?
We never claimed to be nice.
You were laughing at my man's broken neck like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Acting a fool.
Oh, God, I can't breathe.
Borderline criminal, Kincaid.
Lone Survivor 2. Hell of a time we had at Lone Survivor 2. Big road show. Northampton, The Deuce, TOS, Shining Strong. There was a few big things that happened there. But the reason why I mentioned Ichiban, and you didn't realize this, I'm leading up to a very important thing. Your man, Elijah Six, the Go Already, if you will. He was in a 6-man scramble with the likes of Nico Silva, with the likes of Ichiban, and the likes of many others. And I'm telling you, your boy came out on top. Give me your thoughts. He is #1 contender. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's any belt, but I'm going to say it's for the big belt. Am I mistaken on saying it's for the big championship in TOS?
I believe it's for whatever championship he chooses.
Okay.
So basically that means whichever one he chooses, like count your blessings, count your days, because your time is coming.
Yeah. I don't know which belt he's gonna go for. I know currently Dan the Man is holding the big gold, and
listen, Dan the Man talks enough about himself. We don't need to talk about him anymore.
Listen, all I want to say is that we're in good graces, but he should be careful. You know, the tides change real quick.
There's no honor among thieves. Remember that.
Oh,
I don't know. Hey. You know what else happened at Lone Survivor? I don't know if you caught the injustice that happened at Lone Survivor.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Jay. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the four-way tag match ended? Do you remember that? The match that we were in for the tag titles? How did that end?
No, please remind us to fans. I would love to hear.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Mr. Slick Wagner Brown decided that it would be fun to dive on a man half his size. I didn't appreciate that very much. Then, guess who was the legal man? Me, Richard E. Stone Esquire. Guess who Slick Wagner Brown pinned? Jiggy Sosa. He pinned Jiggy Sosa. Neither one of us. He certainly didn't pin the legal man. And as the resident legal expert, when this thing is settled, when coronavirus has come and gone, and we are allowed to congregate once again, we're coming for that gold. We're coming for what's ours. We never lost that match. And Slick technically never won it.
It's really it kind of really hurt my feelings because we got cheated, and everyone, including the Kincaids, were like, this is great.
How do you think it feels when your teacher has to cheat to beat you?
Yeah.
How do you think it feels? Not very good.
So can we say when this whole thing kind of we get back to some whatever normal is gonna freaking be down the road, hopefully sooner than later, is that going to be your first mention of business to get a rematch with just a one-on-one rematch with the year-plus running tag team champions, the only tag team champions in Test Strength ever, Jay Freddy, Slick Wagner Brown? Is that your first order of business when we come back?
I think that we have many firm biz bullet points we got to hit. That's one of them. Definitely, we got to find out where Elijah Slick's been taking a while to see who he wants to challenge. And he should take his time. We got a lot of time right now. And then also we got to get Sammy his cup back, Mike Skyro's used. Mike Skyro's used. Wow. Mike Skyro's used Brian Pillman Jr. as, I don't know, a distraction to get the cup. So, we'll get that one-on-one going again and bring it back.
Enough with the tears, Mr. Stone. How do you feel now that not only Sammy has lost his cup, but he's also lost that beautiful shiny championship in PAPW? He's kind of lost the gold. What are your feelings and your reactions of what's going on here with Sammy Diaz? He is the ace, and I know he's been a title holder here. What are your feelings on that?
You know what, Kincaid? I feel good. You know why?
Why?
Titles are temporary. They get passed around. True champions, are forever. And Sammy Diaz, the ace, is a true champion. He put up that belt every single time he was there at PAPW Friday Night Alley Fights.
Okay.
He put up the Kowalski Cup at every training day and every road event. He's a fighting champion. He takes pride in what he does, and he is the best at what he does.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the current champion even talk about it. Make a promo, make a post.
Where's your boy?
Take a picture. Yeah.
It's almost as if he's embarrassed to be the champion.
Who won the PAPW thing? Was it Nutris? Was it Nutris?
It was whoever. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't.
She's not Sammy.
I wouldn't know because one, my memory is short, but two, I haven't seen a picture. I haven't seen a single picture. I haven't seen. I don't know, man. Do you even care about the championships? Like, I don't know. Both of them. That's a shot.
You know, these companies have to stack the odds against the firm. You put the firm in a four-way tag match instead of a straight one-on-one because you fear the firm. You put Sammy Diaz in a triple threat because you fear Sammy Diaz and what he might do. So you stack the odds against him. You put Elijah Six in a six-man, and he came out on top. So you couldn't even fully beat us. But you put us in all these gimmick matches instead of fighting us one-on-one, and then you celebrate when the odds are stacked against us and we can't overcome the odds. What kind of hero does that?
Well, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, and I actually agree with both of you to a degree. Not fully,
Finally.
but to a degree. I kind of feel...
Bravo, Mr. Kincaid.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, my friend. That's one of your lines. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I like it.
Now, you two have actually been very generous with the information. I did not expect you to sit for an hour with me. I thought you were going to dump me at about maybe 20, 21 minutes or so. But it took you 15 minutes to kind of get your 129K hooked up. And I have so much more that I want to ask you guys. You have no clue. But with that said, I would like to maybe kind of cap it off here with a question for both of you. I want to cap it off here, and then maybe I'm hoping in the future when we get back and we get a little something going on, could I have a follow-up with you two or even all four of you as the firm collectively? Is that something I might be able to pull off in the future?
Well, our bill rate is expensive, but we're always up for a negotiation.
Okay. I'll write as big of I'll write as big as check as you want. Believe me, I'll write them all day long. Now, my last question, and I know this isn't even really the indie scene related or the character related. This is kind of like a straight up true life question, if you will. I like to gauge the men and women that I speak with on these interviews. Mr. Bryxx, do you watch the current product being either WWE, AEW, NWA, what have you? Do you still turn that on and keep following the companies to, kind of keep in tune, if you will, and be a fan? Because I know we're all fans of wrestling.
So when I stopped watching WWE recently, it was because I wasn't really happy with the product, and then the fans not being there definitely kind of killed it for me. So I haven't watched. I watched like maybe one no fan SmackDown, and then that has been it since before Mania. But I do like NXT, so I still do watch NXT. I feel like AEW does a better no fan kind of product, so I do follow that a lot. I do like it. I love New Japan, but overall, I would say my favorite is NWA, just because it's so like the characters are so big, and it's a lot of like they cut a lot of the fat off. Like there's no music entrances, there's no like big like there's not a like all that kind of like extra stuff that everyone else is doing. They don't have it, but they do have like great storytelling, and it's pretty much like I'm gonna kick your ass, and then they get in the ring and they kick each other's ass. So I do like NWA a lot. So that's what I mainly follow.
I gotta have to totally, again, I can't believe I'm saying this. I absolutely love NWA because of all of what you said. But from the very first episode, when they went 605, which is very cool, just like back in the day, 605, the whole studio thing, the podium with the promos that they're doing. I'm waiting for the likes of, the Ric Flairs and the Dusty Rhodes to come out and actually cut a promo, because it's giving us that old school NWA feel right now in modern wrestling, when it's so very different than wrestling has ever been in its existence. But not only that, you bring up a very good point. There's no music on the entrance. And not only that, if you listen, the ring announcer doesn't give it a big flair of, Jay Bryxx. It's Jay Bryxx. Richard E. Stone, Esquire, walks out of the ring. Done. There's no like crazy fluff and all of that. Again, same question, Mr. E. Stone. What are your faves to kind of click on and check out?
Occasionally I tune into the product. It is tough without the crowds. I am a huge fan of podcasts. My shoot job, it requires me to kind of sit in one spot and work at a computer for a good portion of the day, being a lawyer and whatnot. So I find that I can listen to Jim Ross or Bruce Pritchard or Arn Anderson talk about events that they were a part of, whether they were on booking committees or they managed a certain group or they were, involved in certain old school events. And they talk about the psychology of the event and what they were feeling at the time and what their takes on the business are. It's very fascinating to get that mindset, and everyone has free access to that because it's on any podcast app that you have. And a lot of those are watch-alongs, so you can watch the event. Like every year, I think Bruce Pritchard does a Survivor Series around Thanksgiving, and they also do a Starcade with Tony Schiavone. And it's really cool to hear like their takes on events that they were part of 30 years ago, what they were thinking and kind of what the psychology was at that time, because everything's cyclical. The NWA is, I think, hitting its stride because it's doing something that wrestling hasn't seen in a long time, and it's refreshing.
Absolutely. Very interesting answer on that. Do you feel that the podcast, your takeaways from the podcast, do you feel that you can apply them to what you're doing in the ring and the way you're thinking and the psychology and stuff? You can apply what they're saying and stuff?
100%. I heard on a podcast that the hardest thing wrestlers have to learn is to slow down. And I remember one of my first exhibition matches where I was trying to figure out if I could do this thing or not. I rushed through everything, and I can hear Slick yelling, "Slow down, slow down, slow down." And it's like, they always say, when you think you're going too slow, slow down some more. And having that understanding, like those were just words at one time. Now they have a meaning because I put them in a context and I get it, and it makes way more sense. And I'm still learning to actually do it, but in my head I understand like, oh, that's what that means, and that's why you do it. So it's definitely like light bulbs constantly go off when you hear things like that time and time again. So,
well, I cannot thank you two as a collective. Hustle and Muscle, one half of the collective faction known as the Firm. You two have been, again, and I said this before, very informative, and we got to know you guys on a little bit of a different side than we see you and call you names and boo you. And you know what's weird about you guys, though? I do want to make a point. Anytime you guys come out through the curtain, magically, right in front of the ring, right in front of us, there's like this kind of stockpile. Boos just kind of fall onto the ground, and there's a pile of boos just waiting for us to pick up when you guys come walking out of the curtain. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how that happens, but I'm glad it does, because without those, I wouldn't be able to get through all of those boos, because we like to boo you guys a lot. You guys have been amazing. I really are. Everything put aside, all the bullshit that we do in and out the ring and the whole gimmick stuff, you two, some of the biggest characters that I know in the indie scene right now, and I can't thank you guys enough for what you project to us, the fans, so we can react and have those good times at wrestling events. I really, from fan to wrestler, I thank you guys so much for what you do in the ring and what you portray, man. Amazing.
Hey, again, the pleasure is all yours, Kincaid.
Hey, I know that. I definitely know that. So this was Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, very pleasurable to a point. I will tell you, Hustle and muscle, law and law and order. I love that. That is amazing. Mr. Richard E. Stone Esquire, Mr. J. Bryxx, thank you guys so much. It's been amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Take care.